presentation by OPG is outlined in CMD 15M 22.1 and 22.1A. And it said that Ms. Swamy will make the presentation. Over to you.
Good evening, Chairman Binder and members of the Commission. My name is Lori Swamy, Senior Vice President for Ontario Power Generation's Decommissioning and Nuclear Waste Management. I am accountable for the safe and reliable operation of our waste management facilities. With me today are Lise Morton, the Director of Low and Intermediate Level Waste Operations, Val Bavacqua, the Director of Used Fuel Operations, and Marlene Ramphel, the Director of Nuclear Waste Engineering. At OPG, we have safely handled and processed the radioactive waste from all of Ontario's nuclear generating stations for over 40 years, and we are very proud of this. Let me give you a few examples. Our transportation drivers have safely transported radioactive materials for millions of kilometers. Our nuclear safety culture continues to strengthen. Our employee dose remained well below limits, as do our environmental emissions. We have applied the 3 R's through all aspects of our waste management processes. And last but not least, we have worked hard to continue to earn the public's trust through open and transparent communications. From the outset of our nuclear program, we recognize that nuclear waste is an integral part of our business, and we planned for and implemented the programs, processes, and facilities for safe management of radioactive materials. As stewards of these materials, we have accountability for their care and custody, and to manage our business in an environmentally, socially, and financially responsible manner. We remain assured of our ability to protect our workers, the public, and the environment, because we have full knowledge and understanding of the amount and nature of the waste materials we manage. We know how to package, ship, process, and maintain safe storage of these materials. I am happy to say we have shown strong performance and in continued improvement. For the most part, we will be discussing our performance over the last 5 years, but just stepping back for a few moments to look at our history. We have safely transported, processed, and stored low and intermediate level waste at our Western Waste Management Facility since 1974. Our highly skilled and trained drivers take the responsibility of traveling on Ontario's public roads very seriously, traveling over 3 million kilometers, or the equivalent of traveling coast to coast 500 times, with no injury to the public or release of materials. Over the course of 4 decades, approximately 200,000 cubic meters of low-level waste has been generated. However, through waste minimization efforts and volume reduction, we have reduced the volume to approximately 83,000 cubic meters stored. At the Western facility, we use an incinerator to reduce combustible waste volume by 95% and a compactor to reduce the waste volume by 75%. We have continued to minimize the waste generated at source in the stations through careful work planning, implementation of reusable materials, and where possible, diversion of the waste for recycling. And we are not stopping here. In this reporting period, we have implemented waste minimization pilots to assess the benefits of retrieving previously stored older waste by opening up the bins and resorting for recycling, compaction, or incineration. This approach demonstrates our environmental commitments as a company and respects and reflects public expectations. Since beginning operation of our used fuel facilities, co-located with their generating stations, we have processed and stored over 2,000 dry storage containers, the equivalent of about 10 years generation for each of the plants. We have done this while meeting all IAEA safeguards. At our used fuel facilities, we have safely increased our processing rate by approximately 30 DSCs per year and our storage capacity. And in support of Darlington refurbishment, we are well advanced in our planning of our retube waste storage building. We are pleased to report that in 2014, we proved that we can safely unload a dry storage container to remove fuel in the unlikely event this would be needed. The biggest challenge was to remove the DSC's lid closure weld. We did this using a combination of arc gouging and grinding. We confirmed that we were successful by checking that the lid and base were indeed separated. We removed a DSC drain port, weld, and plug, and removed spent fuel modules from a DSC while it was submerged in the irradiated fuel bay. Again, we don't ever expect to need to do this, but if we need to, we know we are able to. Within nuclear waste, we continue to set aggressive targets to strive for event-free operation across all 3 facilities to effectively manage our risks. Over the past few years, nuclear waste has been adopting nuclear governance. In fact, my organization has recently implemented the OPG nuclear-wide human performance program, enabling us to focus on reducing the number of human performance events. Using the fleet programs, we have focused on improving supervisory effectiveness, investigating and addressing low-level events, and applying a more rigorous focus on event-free tools and situational awareness. And our results have shown improvement. In the reporting period, we had 2 years with no event-free day resets. Finally, this year, we completed a nuclear safety culture assessment where we surveyed our staff and asked them specifically to identify concerns or issues. I am pleased that our staff actively participated and that the survey demonstrated we have a healthy nuclear safety culture where employees feel comfortable raising concerns and their opinions are valued. The waste facilities have continued to show strong performance in the area of radiation protection. We are proud to report that over the course of this period, we have safely handled over 400,000 fuel bundles and managed over 14,000 cubic meters of low and intermediate level waste, during which there were no recordable doses to workers that exceeded regulatory limits or OPG's more stringent administrative limits. In 2014, OPG achieved its best safety record ever in its over 100 years of operations. We contributed to this success. And at the end of 2014, our waste facilities had completed over 1.5 million hours worked, or over 1,500 days, without a lost time accident. At our Pickering facility, which has been operating for over 20 years, we have never had a lost time accident. As a measure of our performance, we monitor all injury rate and accident severity rate as indicators to ensure the overall objective of managing occupational hazards is met. To reflect OPG's commitment to continuously improve and challenge performance, more aggressive targets have been set for both of these indicators, and our performance has continued to better these goals. Turning to environmental protection, we hold ourselves to high standards and the commitment to the principles of sustainable development. We have a corporate-wide environmental management system which is certified to the ISO 14001 standard. This standard requires regulatory compliance, but also drives us to go beyond that. Our nuclear waste facilities integrate environmental management system fundamentals into daily operations and planning to ensure all impacts on the environment are managed. Radiological waterborne and airborne emissions at OPG's nuclear waste management facilities have always been and remain well below 1% of the derived release limit. Public dose from waste management-related operations also continues to be far below 1% of the CNSC regulatory limit. And beyond compliance, OPG works with its community partners to support regional ecosystems and environmental stewardship, and has been awarded corporate wildlife habitat certification recognition at all 3 sites. Response to potential emergencies is supported by an integrated emergency preparedness program between the nuclear waste facilities, the nuclear power plants, and the municipalities. OPG maintains a comprehensive on-site emergency response capability, and we continually drill and train to test our procedures, our equipment, and our people. In 2013 and 2014, there were 2 potential fire events at our western facility where smoke was observed coming from beneath the incinerator. In both cases, the incinerator was immediately placed in a safe state and an investigation was conducted. While these were unfortunate events, we are pleased that staff responded immediately and appropriately, as we expected them to ensure there was no safety impact. OPG has taken these events very seriously. Since 2014, we have not been incinerating solid waste. We recognized that we needed to modify the incinerator to prevent recurrence of these overheating events. The modifications are currently being implemented, and we anticipate, after rigorous testing, that we will return to solid incineration later this year. OPG is committed to building and growing long-term, mutually beneficial working relationships with First Nation and Métis communities whose traditional territories are or may have been near our waste facilities. During the reporting period, OPG continued to work with 12 communities across the province, holding approximately 15 meetings a year to share information, to consult on issues and concerns, and to work collaboratively on issues of common interest. The relationship continues to mature and build trust and understanding. We acknowledge that waste operations and the future disposal of waste is of keen interest to the public. We work hard to earn the public's trust through our open communications and continuous outreach to all, regardless of their views. On a quarterly basis, we publicly post performance reports on nuclear waste operations, along with a new quarterly report on environmental performance in an easy-to-read format. And starting this year, we have taken the step to post all waste-related reportable events each quarter. We actively meet face-to-face with members of the public. This also extended across the areas of the province where our transportation vehicles travel. 45 presentations were given to over 700 emergency personnel in Ontario on the safe transportation of radioactive materials. We've provided 167 organized tours of our waste facilities to interested groups over the past 4 years. We are proud of our accomplishments, but we are not complacent. We continue to look for ways to improve our performance while ensuring the safety of our workers, the public, and the environment. We continue to communicate our operations in an open and transparent manner. And we continue to examine and explore opportunities to reduce our environmental footprint even further. Our results demonstrate our commitment to those principles. Thank you, and we're available to answer any questions you may have.